You have rejoined the Book of Days project. Today, January 20th, after much technical hassle. And we, on our fourth or fifth take, I am coming at you, alive and well, on this January 20th, a most solemn and momentous day. Of course, as you all know, today is Saint Agnes Eve. January 20th, born today, Frederick, Prince of Wales, in 1707 in Hanover. Jean-Jacques Barthélemy, born 1716 in Cassis. Died today, Cardinal Bembo, 1547. Rodolphe II, Emperor, 1612. David Garrick, the actor, in 1779, expired. It is a feast day of Saint Fabian, a pope. In the year 250 he died in San Sebastian. No, he didn't die in San Sebastian. Saint Sebastian died in 288. Today, of course, is Saint Agnes Day. Before we get to it, however, I'm going to read to you of what was the coldest day in the 19th century up until 1869 when this book was published. That day being January 20th, 1838. Was a very cold day in the city of London. Two things may be here remarked of importance as being almost unprecedented in the annals of meteorology in this country, says Chambers. First, the thermometer below zero it was for some hours. And secondly, a rapid change of nearly 56 degrees took place on this day, January 20th, in 1838 in London town. Skating, an appropriate subject when speaking of the frigid cold. As Chambers points out, this seems a fair opportunity of adverting to the winter amusement of skating, which is not only an animated and cheerful exercise, but susceptible of many demonstrations which may be called elegant. Holland, which with its extensive water surface affords such peculiar facilities for it, is usually looked to as the home and birthplace of skating, and we do not hear of it in England until the 13th century. In the former country, Holland, as has been remarked in the earlier page of this volume, the use of skates is in great favor, and it is even taken advantage of as a means of traveling. Market women having been known for a prize to go in this manner on skates for 30 miles in 2 hours. Opportunities for the exercise are, in Britain, more limited. Nevertheless, wherever a piece of smooth water exists, the dew freezing of its surface never fails to bring forth hordes of enterprising youth to enjoy this truly inviting sport, as it is one of my favorites as well. Skating has had its bone age before its iron one. Fitzstephen, in his History of London, tells us that it was customary in the 12th century for the young men to fasten the leg bones of animals under their feet by means of thongs and slide along the ice, pushing themselves by means of an iron-shod pole. Imitating the chivalric fashion of the tournament, they would start in a career against each other, meet, use their poles for a push or a blow when one or other was pretty sure to be hurled down and to slide a long way in the prostrate condition, probably with some considerable hurt to his person, which we may hope was generally borne with good humor. The Iron Age of skating, whenever it may have come, was an immense stride in advance. A pair of iron skates made in the best modern fashion, fitted exactly to the length of the foot, and well fastened on, must be admitted to be an instrument satisfactorily adapted for its purpose. With unskilled skaters, who constitute the great multitude, even that simple onward movement in which they indulge using the inner edge of the skates is something to be not lightly appreciated, seeing that few movements are more exhilarating. But this is but the walk of the art. What may be called a dance is a very different thing. We will not read of the dance. However, let's be reminded that in London, the amusements of the ice are chiefly practiced upon the artificial pieces of water in the parks. On Sunday, the 6th of January, 1861, during an uncommonly severe frost, it was calculated that of sliders and skaters, mostly of the humbler grades of the population, there were about 6,000 in St. James Park. 4,000 on the Round Pond in Kensington Gardens, 25,000 in the Regent's Park, and 30,000 on the Serpentine in Hyde Park. There was, of course, the usual proportion of heavy falls, awkward collisions, and occasional immersions, but all borne good-humoredly and none attended with fatal consequences. During the ensuing week, the same pieces of ice were crowded, not only all the day but by night also, torches being used to illuminate the scene, which was one of the greatest of animation and gaiety. On 3 occasions, there were refreshment tents on the ice. This 6th of January, 1861, with gay flags, variegated lamps, and occasional fireworks, and it seemed as if half London had come to look on from the neighboring walks and drives. Ah, to be a skater in London in the 19th century. St. Agnes Eve. That's today, and it is the feast of St. Agnes, who was formerly held as in a special degree a holiday for women. It was thought possible for a girl on the eve of St. Agnes to obtain by divination a knowledge of her future husband. She might take a row of pins and plucking them out one after another, stick them in her sleeve, singing the while a paternoster, and thus ensure that her dreams would that night present the person in question, her future husband. Or, passing into a different country from that of her ordinary residence and taking her right leg stocking, she might knit the left garter around it, repeating, quote, I knit this knot I knit, to know the thing I know not yet, that I may see the man that shall my husband be, not in his best or worst array, but what he weareth every day, that I tomorrow may him ken from among all the other men. Lying down on her back that night, with her hands under her head, the anxious maiden was led to expect that her future spouse would appear in a dream, salute her with a kiss. On this superstition, John Keats founded his beautiful poem, The Eve of St. Agnes, of which the essence here follows. I quote some verses. They told her how upon St. Agnes's eve young virgins might have visions of delight, and soft adornings from their loves receive upon the honeyed middle of the night, if ceremonies do they did aright. As supperless to bed they must retire, and couch supine their lily beauty white, nor look behind nor sideways, but require of heaven with upward eyes for all that they desire. Out went the taper as she hurried in, its little smoke and pallid moonshine died. She closed the door, she panted, all akin to spirits of the air and visions wide, no uttered syllable, or woe betide. But to her heart was voluble, painting with eloquence her balmy side, as though a tongueless nightingale should swell her throat in vain, and die, heart stifled, in her dell. Her vespers done, of all its wreathed pearls her hair she frees, unclasps her warm jewels one by one, loosens her fragrant bodice by degrees, her rich attire creeps rustling to her knees, half hidden like a mermaid in seaweed, pensive awhile she dreams awake and sees, in fancy, fair St. Agnes in her bed, but dares not look behind where all the charm is fled. So all ye fair maidens, hasten to your slumbers and wait for visions of your future husband-to-be. Thank you for joining us today, St. Agnes Eve, January 20th. Tomorrow, St. Agnes Day. Adieu.